here to everyone. We'll go ahead and call the regular session of Yuma County Board of Supervisors, also sitting as a special taxing district, January 3, 2024, 9 a.m. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Supervisor Lyons, can you lead us?
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And board members will attend either in person, by telephone, or remotely, and I think we're all here, so we'll move on to call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01, H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or rescheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomment@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read out loud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting that starts at 9 a.m. Desiree, do we have any emails?
Yes, we do. This morning, we received an email from Laura Sarti. She says, today's call to the public comes more as a plea to those of you in the county that have the power and moral obligation to do what is right. I am asking you for a moment to set politics aside, to take just a moment out of your busy lives to ponder and consider the health, safety, and well-being of others. During my time in India and Central America, I have firsthand witnessed poverty and people who live amongst actual dump sites. These are countries with no laws set in place to shelter and protect their own people. The state of Arizona and Yuma County has laws, rules, and regulations set in place to ensure the health and safety of their people, yet they fail to uphold it. As I already know, and you very well know, Band Trailer Park has broken every rule and law in the book. No more beating around the bush, no more wasting time. If we could all be transparent and admit the reason Band Trailer Park sits in complete, unlawful, trashy, and dangerous disarray is because Yuma County does not want the financial obligation of Band Trailer Park. I am tired of hearing that's just how people choose to live. With that statement, we are saying that living amongst filth, dangerous home structures, drugs, and violence is all that these people are worth. I am here to say that they are worth more, much more. How are we okay saying that their standard and way of living is acceptable? What kind of message are we sending to the next generation of young ones that have no say or no other choice in the matter? Are they not worth more? Is money really more important than helping those that cannot help themselves? Is money more important than showing those that are less fortunate that they can do better and live better? Living in poverty or below poverty does not mean that we allow people to live as or be treated as second-class citizens. It does not mean we allow children to grow up thinking there is nothing better outside of their current state of living. This cycle has to be broken. I am asking you as the county to do better. If morality is something that is lacking, I know laws are not. Let's stop wasting time and get Band Trailer Park either shut down or in 100% compliance. I strongly recommend that you each read over the Mobile Home Park Residential Landlord and Tenant Act. There you will find the legal and proper steps you can take to get things done ASAP. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Desiree. Is that the only one?
Yes.
Okay. I have a couple of speaker forms. One is for an item on the agenda, and one's just called to the public. Harold Hendrick.
Hello, members of the Yuma County members of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. My name is Harold Hendrick, and since 1988, my family and I are proud owners and operators of Hughes Electronics, a Yuma business which employs over 40 people locally. I am here to discuss how Yuma County taxpayers are getting ripped off and a company based in Nebraska is getting richer at the expense of county government and taxpayers. Millions in federal COVID relief funds were supposed to bring broadband to Yuma County are being handed to an out-of-state unlicensed contractor who has arbitrarily changed specs, raised prices, and appears to be hijacking the project for its own gain. In July 2021, Yuma County issued an RFP to build a middle-mile fiber optic network to provide internet service to Yuma County. Yuma County Board of Supervisors delegated the selection process to a task force that selected an out-of-state company called Allo, which is based in Nebraska and owned by a student loan company. Allo is not a licensed contractor in Arizona. I'm here to stand up for the local taxpayer. According to all communication between Allo and the county, Allo has changed the work order, increased its prices, added a line item to build its own network on top of the county's, and is charging 20% on top of subcontractors, all with no approval from the county. Further, the work order for phase one called for Allo to construct 79 miles of broadband conduit. Instead, the project was reduced to 69 miles. The county's project manager, PJ Way, does not know why this was done. This was not approved by county staff or the board. The phase budgeted for $220,000 per mile. Allo altered those terms and decided to charge $283,000 per mile. That is an increase of $63,000 per mile at the taxpayer's expense. The terms for the numbers of hours spent and design and permitting went from 341 hours to 1,850 hours. Splicing went from 636 hours to 3,550 hours. Project management went from 590 hours to 13,030 hours. Hourly rates for these services went up as well. Design and permitting went from $68 to $92. Splicing went from $68 to $150 an hour. Project management went from $110 to $149 an hour. It has also been discovered that Allo has been installing its own backbone internet and components in the same trench as Yuma County Fiber. This puts them in direct competition with the county and gives them free access to right-of-way, along with charging the county for project management fees, quality assurance fees, permitting and design fees. This was never part of the RFP or the work order. The original figures were all provided by Allo as part of its original bid, which purports to be an expert in design, construction, and maintaining broadband project. Project manager PJ Way does not know why the rates went up or who approved them for payment. He was unaware Allo was laying their own conduit and fiber in the same trench as the county. None of the increased costs or joint trenches were rebid or approved by the Board of Supervisors. This is exactly what happens when you hire an unlicensed, non-local contractor. This is supposed to be a project for public good funded with tax dollars. However, Allo is exploiting the situation by placing their own fiber optic cables on top of the county cables. I realize you can't discuss items that are not on the agenda. I would like to see this matter placed on a future agenda because I have some questions and expect county taxpayers will as well. To approve these changes to work order, and how is the county working with other local providers to ensure this project creates actual public network accessible by all providers and not continue to be publicly funded exclusive network to Allo. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian, would you look into that and get with him, or we'll see what's going on? Some of the concerns he raised. Thanks. Anybody else from the call to the public? From the public? I'll go ahead and leave the call to the public open, and we'll move on to presentations, proclamations, and appointments. Do we have any appointments? So item number 1, presentation of the mix with the Yuma County by Yuma 77.
Welcome to a special edition of The Mix, a year in review. This episode, we're going to review some of the awards and some of the advancements that Yuma County has been involved in. Stay tuned. Welcome to the first edition of The Mix 2024. So we have a lot to cover today, so we're gonna get started with awards. So Carla, tell us about these amazing awards that our employees have earned and our departments have earned.
2023 was an amazing year to celebrate you, and today we're going to cover a lot of awards that we were handing out to employees to celebrate and acknowledge their great work. To get started, we are going over the Employee of the Year. For 2023, the Employee of the Year was Robert Treblecock. Our Court Employee of the Year was Henry Gonzalez, and Safety Excellence Award went to Minnie Samaniego. Congratulations, and we can't wait to celebrate new employees this 2024. Next, we have two amazing life-saving awards. Congratulations to Javier Coronado, a building inspector at DDS, and Arnaldo Acosta, court security officer, for your amazing bravery. Another amazing award, which I couldn't skip from highlighting, is the Healthy Arizona Worksite Wellness Award. This is an amazing award that we have received for ongoing years. HR department, kudos to you. For another year, we received the Platinum Award. This celebrates all the things that we do to focus on the well-being of all Yuma County employees. Congratulations. And it doesn't stop there. Jason Giard, Senior Civil Engineer at Yuma County's Department of Engineering, earns the Robert C. Easterbrooks Award from AACE for exceptional community service, innovation, and efficiency in various projects amid staffing challenges. Congratulations, Jason. Next, we have Yuma County earns the Voluntary Environmental Stewardship Program Award from ADEQ for a cleanup initiative involving collaboration between the Sheriff's Office, Public Works, and Developmental Services. The effort collected 11 tons of waste, 22 tires, and 4 appliances. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank you, Carla, for those highlights and great work, Yuma County. Let's keep up those awards in 2024. Now, a little bit of the advancements that have been happening throughout Yuma County. We're gonna go with Oscar. Oscar, tell us a little bit about those cool things that have been happening all throughout Yuma County.
All right, Arlene, yes, Yuma County has been placing numbers on the Richter scale, breaking ground left and right. Let's talk about it. Starting off strong with the Foothills Multipurpose Complex. This is going to be an adjacent land converted in partnership with Arizona State Parks and trial funding to include grassy areas, paths, picnic spots, playground, and parking. Next, with the Water Infrastructure Project, a project located in Tacna replacing an impractical 40-year-old system. This initiative promises clean, safe, and reliable water for Tacna residents. Another amazing advancement within Yuma County is Arizona Western College's recently initiated construction of a 20,000 square foot building for the Law Enforcement Training Academy. This facility intended to centralize training for LEADA candidates statewide. And highlighting major advancements right on our border, the second busiest non-commercial port of entry begins a $300 million modernization project. This initiative will upgrade infrastructure, reduce wait times, implement sustainability, and fortify cross-border economics. And last but not least, my favorite groundbreaking for the year, the Yuma County Administrative Services Building, located right here on Main Street, scheduled to open in 2025. It will host a variety of departments offering services for the community, and I'm so excited to call it my new home.
Thank you, Oscar. I think we're all excited to move into our new building. And Yuma County was busy. We had a lot of awards. We had a lot of advancements. So on the count of 3, we're going to wish everybody a Happy New Year. 1, 2, 3. Happy New Year.
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 Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yes, sir. But everybody's too quiet. All right, moving on to consent calendar. The following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless board members so request. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. And we have items 1 to 16. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve items as presented.
Go ahead, Tony. I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve consent calendars, item 1 to 16, as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to planning and zoning agenda. And we have expedited rezoning and public hearings. These items will be open as a group for public hearing and acted upon by one motion to adopt the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission, except for any item that is removed by a board member for separate consideration. The item will be discussed and acted upon separately following action on expedited items. And we have one item on the expedited rezoning and public hearing, and it's item number 1, special use permit case number 23-12. Do we want any presentations or?
We're quiet today, but
Good morning.
Good morning.
Presentation, or there was no opposition?
Nope.
The applicants are here
it is
present.
expedited, but I think you still need a public hearing then.
Yeah, I'll
There needs to be an
I'll
explanation.
just open it up to the, so, no questions or anything, so I'll open it up. I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board.
I'll make the motion to approve the item as presented.
Second.
There's a motion in a second to approve special use permit case number 23-12 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Rezoning. Item number 1, special use permit case number 23-13. Right, go ahead.
Right now, thanks.
Senior planner presenting special use permit 23-13. The request is to allow an accessory dwelling unit on a parcel 2.5 gross acres in size, zone suburban site built 2 acres minimum. Property is located in the Yuma Mesa Plan area at 13261 South Avenue 4¼ E in Yuma. As I mentioned, the intent is to build a site-built home as an accessory dwelling unit for their mother-in-law home. This is the zoning map, showing the parcel outlined in blue with the crosshatch. Portion that is highlighted in gray, that's the representing the 65 decibel noise zone. Around the property, it's zone SSB2. Parcel 3-2 is zone SSB2, and those are inside the 65 decibel noise zone. Parcel to the west is zone RE10, and it's an agricultural. Parcel 5 is also zone SSB2, and it's a location of a site-built home. Parcel 1, 4, and 6 are zone SR2, and they're in the location of a site-built homes. Parcels 6 and 9 are zone SSB2. This is the site plan submitted by the applicant. The portion highlighted in yellow is where the intent location will be stands to be located, the accessory dwelling unit. And this is the aerial view. Outlined in blue is the subject parcel. And this is a picture looking east of the subject parcel. And this is looking south on Avenue 4¼ E. 4E. Received comments from Marine Corps Air Station and Yuma County Airport Authority. Planning Commission recommends approval with performance condition number 1. Within 60 days of approval by the Board of Supervisors, the owner or agent shall record an agricultural and navigation and an infrastructure disclosure statements. And for operational conditions, the approval of special use permit is based on the site plan submitted by the applicant. Any change from the site plan requires prior approval by the planning director. And Mr. Chairman, this concludes staff presentation. The applicants are here present, and Antonio Martinez from MCIS is present as well.
Any questions for
I have a question.
Jesus?
Do the plans have it attached to the house? is there going to be a door in and out of that house?
Mr. Chairman and Supervisor Prankesi, no, the home will be detached, will be approximately 17 feet according to the site plan.
Oh, I see. There's the house. There's the, I already saw that. Never mind. I forgot. That's the carport. Okay. Thank you. I looked at it already.
A comment, from the pictures that you showed, I mean, there's already development around it. Most of the other sites, from the picture that you showed, most of the other sites have a dwelling on them, right?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I can
And,
see where the farming or, the areas that are not developed are pretty clearly defined, but I see a lot of sporadic buildings everywhere in that parcel. And I know that the lines, the sound, the 65 decibel lines are just lines and that we don't demarc them. I mean, it's like, it's 65 decibel because it's closer to the landing strips or whatever that we call them so it's just, it's a noise line, right? I mean, nothing says that beyond that you don't have 65 decibels or before that you don't have 75 decibels. It's just a line that we use to normally define the areas that we don't want development. Just want to,
There was a done in a study for that, so I believe.
there was no study.
Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't, we don't delineate the line is what I'm trying to say, right? It just, it goes through there. This parcel is sort of split up by that delineation mark. I guess what I'm getting at, those houses that are built in that particular process are all within the 65 decibel.
Yes.
And the new part, and the new dwelling will be within that, inside that 65 decibel gray area, right?
That's correct.
It's not like they're building that detached home outside the 16 decibel, which will be a little corner there. Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to get a better sense. And from the area picture that you showed, there are other houses in that area, other mobile homes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Supervisor Reyes, actually parcel number 3 and 2 are location of site-built homes and also parcel more further to the north. All these are being developed with site-built homes.
And most developers see this, right, before they apply. If it's a developer, because they call it a development, a residential development, I call it a special use permit for a dwelling, one dwelling. It's not, to me, a residential development is actually meaning more than one. It's a development. This is just a permit to permit one house, right?
To allow an additional home.
An additional home.
1,300 square
All right,
feet.
I just wanted to make it. All right.
Any other questions for staff?
The applicant is present.
Okay.
I have a question. If they put it in that one little section back there that's not in the 65, then the Marine Corps Air Station wouldn't have an objection to it, but just because it's moved up into the 65, they do have an objection, correct?
Well, I think that
What would be the question we ask them?
you want to ask that to the applicant or?
No, I want to ask it to the Marine Corps Air
Marine
Station.
Corps.
Have you opened it up? I'm
No,
sorry.
I-
I'm sorry, he hasn't opened it up. Just a minute. My question's ahead of time.
Okay. So.
I don't have
no-
any more
no
questions.
Okay, I'll go ahead and open it up to public, any questions to the applicant? No? Okay. Thank you, Jesus. And I'll open it up to a public hearing. And I have a card, speaker card from Antonio Martinez.
Hi, Antonio.
No.
Good morning. My name is Antonio Martinez. I'm representing Marine Corps Station Yuma. And mainly, obviously, you see in the letter that we submitted from our command. But I wanted to just answer a few of your questions because you understand every time we see new residential within the noise zones, we have to be here and just try to uphold those regulations in place. But just to answer your question, Supervisor Reyes, the lines are not depicted by us. There was a 5-year study that goes, and we actually contract professionals to go around, and they basically have the equipment to delineate those lines. We have the 65 to the 69, 70 to 74, and then the 75 plus noise zones. So it is a 5-year study, close to 5 years, that it takes for them to go through every single lines surrounding the air station to just have this picture. with anything regarding the other residentials in the area. So this actually was set in place as of 2004. So that's why we have residential in a lot of areas within the noise zones surrounding the base, because a lot of those were grandfathered in. So the exceptions were if they had any building permit issued, or they already had a residence constructed, or if they were even approved for residential prior to 31 December of 2004, then they were exempted. So that kind of answers one of those questions. And yeah, I mean, we would love to keep residential outside the noise zones just for, mainly for public safety.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay. I've read the letter. The letter was pretty explicit. I mean, it's just simply saying, look, it's not that we invented this. It's
Right.
just that aviation, like everything else, has moved to another level. I mean, some of the planes are noisier than they were before, and some of them are not as noisy as they were before. I mean, the F-35s have a different sound system evaluation. So what I'm saying when I'm saying that it is still a line is because when the sensors were used, they were used with a certain, they were used within a certain situation. And maybe the question should ask the applicant is, have you ever complained about the noise? Because you already live there. This is a secondary dwelling. So I was going to wait until I got a chance to ask him, if you ever complain about noise to the Marine Air Corps base station, you're already basically doing exactly what we're trying to avoid, which is to avoid more people complaining about noise or planes going over their houses when they build on the landing pattern, within the landing pattern, or within a certain specific distance from the base, the Marine Corps base. This wouldn't even be a question for me if it wasn't because portions of that land are sort of outside the boundary. And as I'm sure that Supervisor Pancrase, we kind of look at situations, in this particular situations individually. I don't look at this as, if this was a development, if it was more than one or a separate dwelling, I'd be saying no right away, because I think that we all here kind of like to think that we like to protect the base within the range of possibilities. On top of that, there are some statutory obligations we have. It's like if we approve something that is obviously against the statute, you guys can always come back and say, well, tell you what. I mean, if you guys don't do it because you want to, we will do it because you have to, kind of thing. I mean, we don't use those kind of terminology between us. We try to work our way through it. I guess that's where the question of if it was being built on that side. This is the reason why it's being asked, because I know the lines are kind of, they depend on the data they tested and the noises. And I know they're specific, and I know you didn't do them. I know it was an outside agency that did them. I think I was here.
We're going to see Antonio every time it's
I know.
within the noise.
I'm trying to, sort of.
We've seen them before, we've seen this.
I have another question.
It's,
Antonio, there's a statute in place, a state statute in place that restricts this, correct?
Correct.
Now, in the past, I know Mary Ellen has said that they would take this to the Attorney General's office. And
We will not on this case, to be honest.
okay,
But kind of to answer, going back to Mr. Supervisor Reyes. So the reason that the study, the last ACUS, the Air Installations Compatible Use Zone study, was completed back in 2019, which started in 2014, was because we changed the platform for our aircraft. So back before that, we switched from the Harriers, or it was a transition from the Harriers to the F-35s. So that's why that was in place. So we can accommodate the new noise, not only to the new specs, the new aircraft. And I can tell you for the applicant, we have not received any noise complaints from that area. The noise complaints that we get, majority, is on 32nd and by the Sears, across the street from the Sears, and the Foothills.
winter visitors.
Yeah, it's on the freeway.
There
we used
from
to say.
here.
yeah.
I know, but I just wanted to make sure that we all understand this isn't just an arbitrary line. I didn't mean it that way. I meant to say that line changes based on the platform, and then that's what you just explained. This is dealing with the new platform, with the F-35s, with
35s,
with
correct.
the new type of planes that we're dealing with here in Yuma, which I tell you, I'm very glad we are dealing with this issue, but it becomes a little thorny when you're trying to be, good for the applicant, at the same time you're good for the Marine Corps. It's one of those situations where I don't think we have that much leeway. We just sort of, when we find a little corner there or something to grab on, we always try to be a little more receptive to the situation, to put it lightly.
And we understand that as the air station, like we come in front of you with the recommendation, and then obviously you're the authority on these cases.
The other thing that we're trying to prevent is encroachment on the base.
Which is already that in place. That's,
I know.
so, yeah.
I know we do, yeah.
Mhm.
Any more questions for?
Any more
Just a
questions?
comment. We don't get many letters of saying no from the Marine Corps. I really appreciate that. You try to let us make a decision that's based more on the local needs. But when you have something so definite as a line that says this is a 65 decibel and you have such a specific case where most of their land is within that, and the construction will be within that, I find it natural that the base would say, no, we can't. It's just basically, we have to take a stand, and that's our stand. There has to be a line somewhere, and this is the line. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio. Anybody else from the public?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and supervisors. Chris Morris with Calculated Designs and Moore Saints Development. Our firm is the one that did the drawings for the building and potentially the builder on the project, as long as we can get everything approved. The client or the homeowner is also here with us today. And I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. What we're asking for, I believe, is truly the intent of the special use permit. We're not trying to circumvent the zoning requirements or anything. The situation is that they have elderly parents that are going to essentially move in or onto the property with them. They would like to have their own independence and privacy. So for that matter, we're going with the ADU process, so that they could have their own dwelling on the property. Now, the reason that we want to have the building close to the primary residence is so that because of their age and circumstances, they can still keep a close eye on them. So if there's a call for help, they can get there immediately. That's why we're not proposing putting the building on the back corner of the property where it's outside of the noise zone. It's always our intent to make this as easy as a process as possible. So if that were an option, that's definitely the route that we would take. Now, in regards to the noise zone, I understand the importance of it. It's important for us to be aware of those circumstances so we can make the right decisions. And I also understand that there was a 5-year study, and a boundary line has to be determined somewhere. There has to be a boundary for the noise zone. Coincidentally, this one runs through the property. And again, that boundary needs to be placed somewhere, but I would highly assume that from the location where we want to build a home to walk into the back of the property, there's not going to be any noticeable difference in the noise decibels. So we're so close to that boundary edge. Anyhow, with that being said, we're in agreement to the recommendations that were put forth for approval, as well as any building and safety requirements, such as different type of glazing for the windows for the decibels and that sort of thing that may and will be required. And so from the designer and builder position, I'm open to any questions that the board may have.
No, I think we probably made the comment. This is one of those situations where you have to sort of split the baby in half, and that doesn't work. So we got to make a decision, trying to work out the best solution for this problem. Obviously, if it wasn't because the line cuts through the property, we wouldn't be here, because I think that it would definitely be either one or the other. This is one of those situations where it's really dicey, and I understand the special use permit application form is for specifically this kind of situations. If it wasn't for that line going through there, we wouldn't even be talking about it. I think we're pretty even in our decisions. I mean, and most of them follow the same pattern. We sort of try to adapt to the situation that the homeowner has first, trying to, at the same time, meet all the requirements that state law gives us. And this is one of those particular ones where it's a little dicey to do that. It's difficult to sort of decide, but.
Question for?
No comment, just to let you know. I think I should have said that after the vote.
Any questions for him? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
are you done?
Oh, anybody else, or, well, I'll bring it back to the board.
I should have done that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the item as presented.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve special use permit case number 23-13 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And thank you for taking care of your parents.
Heavy sigh.
Then I think I get my reason
I
for
gotta
my
start
vote.
with my in-laws down here.
Moving on to item number 2, minor amendment case number 23-05.
Mr. Chairman, can you also open item number 3? Both cases are.
And item number 3, rezoning case number 23-12. Jesus, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jesus Carrillo, Senior Planner, Sentencing Minor Amendment Case 2305. The request to change the land use designation of a 6.9 acre portion of a parcel 27.39 gross acres in size from agricultural, rural residential to regional commercial. The property is located in the Gila Valley planning area in the vicinity on the northwest corner of Highway 95 and Avenue 11E alignment in Yuma. And the intent is to allow the rezone of the subject portion parcel to planned development. This is the land use map. Outlined in red is the property lines for the subject parcel. Highlighted in yellow with the crosshatch is the portion that is being requested to be amended. Highlighting in red with the yellow outlines, it's already amended as original commercial with the minor amendment 2105, who was approved by the Board of Supervisors on September 8, 2021. This is the aerial view of the subject parcel. Highlighted in red is the portion that is trying to be amended. This is looking east at the subject parcel of the portion that is being requested. And this is looking north at the subject parcel from Highway 95. No comments received from the property owners within the zoning notification area. The Planning Commission recommends approval of minor amendment case 2305 on the basis on number 1, the proposed change will not have an adverse impact on the natural environment or the aesthetic quality of the area in contradiction to the plan. Number 2, the proposed change is compatible with the adjoining land use designation directly to the south. And number 3, the proposed project will not require public expenditures for infrastructure improvements. Forward to rezoning case number 23-12. The request is to rezone a 6.9 acre portion of a parcel 27.39 gross acres in size from rural area 20 acres minimum to planned development. The property is located in the Gila Valley planning area, vicinity on the northwest corner of Highway 95 and Avenue 11E alignment in Yuma. And the intent is to rezone a 6.9 acre portion of the subject parcel to accommodate phase 2 of a storage facility. This is the land use, the zoning map. Highlighted in, outlined in red is the subject parcel. Highlighted in red is the portion that is being requested to be rezoned to planned development. Highlighted in yellow, it's already zoned C2. We're rezoning 21-14. Parcel number 8, directly to the north, it's in agriculture, it's on RA20. Parcel number 5, to to the west is also zone RE20, and it's an agricultural. Parcel 15 and 14 are currently zone C2, regional commercial. And parcel to the west, to the east, it's zone heavy industrial, and it's an agricultural. This is the SEPN that is submitted by the applicant. Portion that it's highlighted is portion that is going to be rezoned to planned development. And outlined in yellow, it's the property lines. Portion that is highlighted in yellow, it's already zone C2. This is a picture looking east at the Sawyer parcel. Looking north at the Sawyer parcel from Highway 95 and Fortuna. No comments received from property owners within the zone notification area. The Planning Commission recommends approval of rezoning case 23-12 with the following performance conditions. Number one, within 60 days of approval by the Board of Supervisors, the owner or agent shall record an agricultural and an infrastructure disclosure statements. And Mr. Chairman, this concludes staff presentation. The applicants are present.
Any questions for staff?
Let me see if I get this right. This is like the area next to it is already zone commercial, and they want to continue with that so they can build according to this, accommodate a phase 2 of mini storage facility?
Mr. Chairman, yes, the plan development will only allow the mini storage facility.
Right, well, good. That's it. Just wanted to make it.
Just a comment that I just want to, we heard about this case, or we saw it a while back, and I'm glad that the applicant and the neighbors around it agreed to it and talked, had that conversations, and they came out. So here we are with no comments today from neighbors. So,
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
And even though I advised Darren of what I was doing because it's in his area, I sat down with the owner, the engineering, and all of the adjacent property owners and arrived at this solution to be able to move forward.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Darren.
So I'll open it up to a public hearing. Thank you, Jesus. And anybody from the public? Or the applicant, do we have any questions for the applicant? None? Bring it back to the board.
Sure.
Darren?
I'll make a motion to approve minor amendment case 23-05.
I'll second that motion.
And 20,
Motion and a second to approve minor amendment case number 23-05. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve rezoning case number 23-12.
A second.
There's a motion and a second to approve item rezoning case number 23-12 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to legislative issues. Alejandro, Happy New Year.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I will give you the first legislative update of the year. I'll try to make it as brief as possible. There's not a lot going on yet, at the state level at least. So the governor will give her second state of the state on January 8, 2024. She will focus the state of the state on water issues, housing, education, and workforce development. That will officially begin the 2024 legislative session in the state of Arizona. Moving on, Secretary Adrian Fontes, Secretary of State Adrian Fontes issued the Elections Procedures Manual, often called the Bible of Election Administration, after receiving approvals from both the governor and the Attorney General as required by law. The manual, which runs more than 300 pages long, will be in place for the next 2-year election cycle, including the 2024 presidential election. Fontes' office, in cooperation with the 15 county recorders and tribal election officials, compiled the manual over the past year and then opened it for public input. This is the first new manual in 4 years, although state law requires a new manual every odd-numbered year. State Representative Atina Salman resigned effective December 31st, 2023, giving Republicans a temporary 3-seat edge in the closely divided chamber. The district's precinct committee plans to meet January 9 to pick 3 candidates who could replace the 4-term lawmaker. The district meeting will follow 1 day after the start of the 2024 session. Typically, lawmakers in the first week of the session do not tackle substantive issues. The period is instead dominated by news conferences and organizational meetings for legislative committees. Once the Democrats pick 3 nominees, the names will be forwarded to the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, which will appoint 1 to fill out the rest of Salman's term, which runs through January 2025. Lastly, on the state level, the CSA legislative reception for county supervisors and state legislators is scheduled for Wednesday, January 17th, from 5 p.m. through 7 p.m. in the CSA building. The CSA is going to be sending out the invitations to legislators, but it's encouraging supervisors to also send a personal note to our legislators if you will be in attendance. Moving on to the federal side, President Joe Biden signed into law the National Defense Authorization Act that authorizes a record $886 billion in annual military spending. The bill included Arizona Senators Kelly and Sinema's measure to raise overtime pay for Border Patrol agents amid a record surge at the southwest border. Also, Arizona Senator Sinema and Kelly co-sponsored the Southwest Border Regional Commission Reauthorization Act, which is a legislation providing meaningful funding opportunities for Arizona border communities, including organizations that help manage the ongoing border crisis like Yuma's Regional Center for Border Health. The legislation reauthorizes and increases funding available to the Southwest Border Regional Commission, which boosts economic development, modernizes infrastructure, and improves quality of life in communities along the southern border. The Southwest Border Regional Commission was created in the 2008 Farm Bill to strengthen economic opportunity in the southern border regions of Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas. On the International Border Affairs update, beginning tomorrow, January 4th, at 6 a.m., U.S. Customs and Border Protection will resume operations at the Lookville Port of Entry. Other ports also resuming operations tomorrow are the Eagle Pass International Bridge, the San Isidro's Pedestrian West, and the Morley Gate border crossing in Nogales, Arizona. And as far as the asylum seekers go, we are still waiting for a couple of dates from the governor's office in Sonora and the municipality of San Luis Colorado. I would like to update the board that it's been noted, people are noticing more of local residents from San Luis Colorado asking for asylum at the San Luis Juan Port of Entry, claiming fear of their life because of the violence happening in the neighboring community.
There's a significant number that have been seeking asylum who are just they're across the border.
On the border crossing, has there been any particular statements from the Homeland Security people at the local port of entry that indicate why the lines are getting so big and so long and so slow? I mean, there have been times that I've seen one lane open, one lane for Sentry, one lane for Be General, and one lane for Ready. That has made lines that used to last 2 hours, 4 hours. I've seen people stay there for 7 hours waiting to cross the border. Have there been any statements about this at all?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, as you know, they just went through a leadership change at the port of entry, so communication is very limited as why that's happening right now. But I've also noticed that, and I've heard from several people.
Oh no, it's I spent 4 hours yesterday on a line that was like 16 blocks long. I spent 4.5 hours in line.
Did you watch any movies?
I did. I watched a couple of movies too, well, this part. But no, and it's not. I just want to make it clear. It's not just in San Luis. It is also in Algodones. It's slowed down quite a bit. Now there may be a reason that they haven't made us aware of. Like there may be pulling some people to help with the flow. There may be some reason. It's just that we used to at least get a notice from the former port director. Look, we're gonna go through this, and so I'm letting you know ahead of time. That's those kind of things. So to give us like a forewarning about what's going to happen. In this case, they actually close lanes, and they close lanes for what absolutely doesn't seem to be a reason. I mean, you get to the line and you see people, you see all the border crossing guards going over the cars, but they limit that to one lane. And look, my concern, Alejandro, and I make it public, my concern is that it won't matter if you have 16 lanes in the future one, if you only open 3 or 4. It's irrelevant. You know, if you have 8 lanes that you can operate right now and you only open 3, and if it's not a matter of staffing or some reason for it, then what it leads you to believe is that they'll do whatever they want to, when they want to, and how they want to. And that's not a good way to serve the public, as far as I'm concerned. And I just want to say that is unusually quiet. And you said there's a change of leadership. I haven't received a notice. Is the new Port of Entry? Yeah, I know, but is the new Port of Entry director been?
There's interviews going on right now, but no.
But there hasn't been yet a leadership. It's just a leadership vacuum. The former port director retired, Mr. Schwan, and there hasn't been a replacement name yet.
Well, somebody took the interim
He's
position, yes.
He's got deputy directors, but okay. I just keep us informed if you see or hear any particular reason.
Just as far as the net number of people waiting for asylum at the Port of Entry on the Mexican side, as I said before, it has decreased. Right now, they have 180 families, according to Mexican authorities. They have 180 families. 20% of those are San Luis Rio Colorado residents right now, at least.
Look, if there was a reason given, if the reason given was that they have a higher number and they're going to process people, I'd feel a lot better because I knew there was something going on. But there is no significant change in the number that basically points to a situation that gets worse, and so therefore there's a reaction to it. And again, it may be just a lack of information coming out of the Port of Entry that we don't really know, or well, it's not like it's been that direct form of conversation, but at least there was some sort of communication between us before. I'd like to reestablish that, at least between the county and the Port of Entry. We have to answer those questions all the time. Why are the lines so long? And I have no particular reason to give to people there. I don't know if there's anything happening in there. I'm not aware of. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, that would conclude my presentation. Are there any other questions or comments?
Any other questions for Alejandro? No? All right, thank you, Alejandro.
Thank you.
Move on to events.
No, Christmas, I
All right,
spend a lot of time with family.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Same
doing
thing.
that.
Uh-huh.
Same thing.
Go there.
Supervisor Simmons.
Just a few construction steering committee meeting we had, and then met with the Welton Town manager, some other meetings.
I do have a couple. You done?
You're it.
Okay.
You're it.
I do have a couple of questions that lead to probably items in the agenda. One is that the mobile home park situation. There is a mobile home association that has there's a particular nonprofit that operates nationwide that handles that takes over mobile home complexes that are troublesome or that have been problems. So if we're going to be doing something about that, it may not be just wise to take over the park as it is to find someone that will take over the park and fix the problems. So I would like to see if the administrator or the administration in general can find that entity. The way to find it probably would be through La Raza Development Fund, which is a section of Unidos who knows these people, who deals with these people. It may be a situation that we can pass on to someone that can and does that all the time.
Is it a state or a federal?
It's a federal. It's not a federal entity. It's a nonprofit that handles mobile homes all throughout the country that get into these problems, and it seems to me it fits the bill.
Well,
Yeah.
do you know that or?
Yeah, I can help you find that if you need to. And the second thing is I wrote the ALO thing before to ask you that question, but I think what we need to do is like have a meeting with the representative. What's his name? I don't remember his name. But so to meet with him. I've seen a lot of advertisement from ALO in the newspapers and everywhere, which seems to me goes beyond what we said initially we wanted from them, what we said initially we wanted from them is they were supposed to provide us with a system that we could make available to anyone. The way it sounds and it looks right now to me is like they're taking advantage of the fact that they're the ones that are doing the infrastructure work to make sure that if you connect, you will connect to them. Which again, at some particular point in time, that may be when you do it. But it's just starting a little, the advertisement there started a little early, and I guess you found out from the people that are looking at it in the community that they may, I wouldn't like a project that size, that way, that we started with so much money and so much care and attention to, be distorted into a situation where we show some favoritism to someone that isn't even local. That's what started to happen today. So I do believe that that's like a warning sign that we need to take a look at. And so we need to take a look at it quickly before it becomes a bigger issue. So I'd like to see if it's possible for us to get the guy here. I don't remember his name.
Confirm all the
Yeah.
information
Get him
that
in
was
here
given.
so we can have him for a conversation about. I mean, he got in a little late in the game. He got in after we did all this stuff. And I think that most of us supervisors went through a process where we kind of felt a little bit uncomfortable about some of these decisions. And it's certainly making me uncomfortable to see how, one organization is taking such a leap forward as to be able to say, look, if you want to have access to this, contact us. Because that was supposed to be like the last phase.
They were supposed to put in the middle mile and
They were
everybody was
supposed to put it in the
supposed to
middle
be.
mile. The middle mile was supposed to be the counties, and the counties were supposed to be aware of what the regulations would be.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to treat this as a continuation of call of the public in response to criticism, but the people who spoke are not present, so I would ask that you.
All right, well, I want to put it up for discussion. Okay?
Well, I think a
Put it
lot
on
of
the
the
agenda.
questions, I think Ian is gonna, or concerns, he'll respond to us and give us some comments on that, so. Will.
I just wanted to make sure, I had it in my agenda to discuss it, at least briefly, or to ask for it, we have a discussion, so. Right, I understand. It's not an agenda, we shouldn't proceed with it.
So, anything else?
A lot of stuff, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Today, we want to keep it short.
Same here, so, yeah, anything?
Chairman, just a couple, the YSIPTA Board of Directors meeting and Greater Yuma Port Authority Board. Thank you.
All right, and so we'll move on to the item number 1, information technology services.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jesus Cervantes, Deputy Chief Information Officer. Happy 2024. I am here today with our core cybersecurity team, Michael Padilla, our IT security administrator, and Christina Bremley, our IT security analyst. Sticking to our department's core pillars, which are lead, innovation, and protect. We are here today to give an overview of upcoming changes to our countywide password policy. It's still in the final stages of being discussed with our other IT departments internally, but I'll have Mr. Padilla come and give you the overview of what's coming down the line.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. So, two things first. Sorry if my voice is a bit scratchy, I'm a little sick. The second thing is, I would prefer if this would have been in a private session. So because it's in a public session, parts of the slide deck have been modified, so it's a little bit more ambiguous, but the report that you all have in front of you have the details. So that being said, let's see if this works. So what the research shows us, our old password policy is pretty outdated, and I'm not trying to kill you guys with PowerPoint because I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. But the most important pieces is the research shows us that length has been observed to outcompete complexity. So the longer your password is mathematically more secure than a password that has, exclamation mark, numbers, etc. Complexity is important. However, trims have formed that make automated attacks easier. So for example, if it requires a special character, people might just put that at the end of the password. And if it requires a capital, someone will put it at the beginning of their password. And because people have like this structured way of thinking, it makes automated attacks a lot quicker. And then duration, and I think this is a big one for all of you. I've heard everybody's complaints. Similar to complexity, frequent resets creates unfavorable trends. If we ask you to change your password every month, you're just going to pick, July or March, 2021, 2022, etc. So by having longer durations, it leads to hopefully more unique passwords. And this isn't stuff that I've thought about. It's stuff that has been pretty well documented. Our supportive measures. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the details, we already have things that augment our password security throughout the county. So we use multi-factor authentication. We use Okta. And that's the thing where you try to sign in and it sends a little number to your phone or an update that says, hey, did you just try to do this? And you hit yes. And we also offer a password manager to nearly everybody in the county. It's on a first come, first served basis, but we have plenty of licenses. And that takes the burden off of creating unique passwords off the user or managing the 30, 40 passwords they need in the county. And it's all in a single platform. And this is our current configuration as far as passwords go. So today, we asked for 8 characters, we asked for medium complexity, and we asked for monthly resets. And this is what we would like to do. We want to go to 14 plus characters, and if you want the details, it's in the paper in front of you. We want to change the complexity requirements so that they're less stringent than they are today, and we want less frequent resets. And of course, if you want to ask me specifics, we can talk offline or...
wait. You said it says 16.
That's correct. Well, I'm trying to keep it ambiguous.
Okay. Oh, so, all right. I got it. All right. I understand. The fact is maybe
Just messed that up.
I was paying attention. You focus on me, didn't you?
You failed the security test.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
I
have to write that
maybe
up.
I was awake when you were saying this.
All right.
I failed.
You were actually listening, huh?
So don't worry, we're near at the end of it. And what does a rollout look like? Cost, we already have all the available technology. There's no significant cost. If there's a cost, we're talking in the hundreds of dollars and maybe a grand or two, but there's no significant cost. In the timeline, depending on policy approval from our CIO and the board, there's going to be about a 30-day notice to the upcoming changes to the entire county, after which, when the passwords naturally expire, people will just replace it with the requirement. So it's not like one day everyone's going to change their passwords together. It's just going to be whenever your password expires naturally, then you get the new stuff.
29-day notice changing, so you got a little extra time.
So,
if you have any questions,
I can't use the same password, just change the end. Jesus. I feel insecure.
No, I appreciate your concern for security.
Oh, thank
and keeping us from being hijacked.
Well, I appreciate it. I just feel like no one's looked at this in quite a long time. And
Yes.
It's just time to modernize it a bit. You know what I mean? I think we're living in, I don't know, we're 2024 now, and I feel like the passwords thing's been stuck in like in the 2000s. That also being said, I feel like it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for everybody. I know people aren't happy with, resetting their password month to month, and it creates a few challenges. So I think there's a way to please everybody. It pleases me. It pleases hopefully our employees.
IA and all these people that with their computers trying to generate some sort of access into our computer system at all times. I appreciate you doing this update.
We picked on you and complained, but we understand the need.
I hear it. I hear it. I want to be able to support your guys' operations. I just want to do it in a secure fashion. Any other questions?
The conclusion is?
Do we need an action?
Are you asking us for like permission, or you just simply telling us?
I'm pseudo asking. Well, I guess I think I'm not pseudo. I think I am asking permission because it's outlined in our information. Our password unfortunately falls in a section of our information security standards policy that's signed by the board. So it's hard written. If it was more ambiguous, I probably wouldn't need to ask for permission. But in this case, since it's strictly outlined in a policy signed by the Board of Supervisors at that time.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the, what?
Go ahead, man, finish it up.
The update.
That is the weakest link that we have right there.
The update.
Yeah, I'm aware of the, let him finish his motion. You probably can save yourself a lot of pain and trouble right there.
There's no need for legal action on this.
No?
It says here.
It's
make the
just for
change, you
presentation.
need to make the change.
It's a presentation.
We are still working on revising our policy. We are looking at having an official request, maybe by
I withdraw.
next month.
Well, say there's no legal action required, so there's stuff right there.
So that you guys can do what you need to do without having.
Yeah, so we can pre-stage both the campaign to notify our end users and also update our policies across the board, because there's a few policies that are dependent on each other so that they all match across the board. So today's session was more informational and tight. If you do
I
have
tried to
any-
stop him, but it's just tough.
It balanced out.
You got it, you guys got it.
But if there's no other questions, we thank the board for your time.
Oh, well, thank you.
I do want to say, from the beginning, I am not a very technical person, but I was told without a doubt that the weakest link that we have in any system is the individual that doesn't know how to protect the system.
That's right.
So this is, to me, a good way to address it, because I certainly believe I am the weakest link, because I keep changing my password just slightly because I keep coming in and the password needs to be changed right away. So you change it right away, and that's not really the way that this security thing needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed as a security issue, not as a password issue.
I agree with you.
And so thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Not bad for the first time. Not bad.